Hello there. Welcome to Ask the Unicorn. I'm Z.
I don't know if we're on.
And don't you think I know what I'm doing?
There's no other box there.
Okay.
Let's ask Sonari.
No, you don't have to ask Sonari. I know what I'm doing. And people are watching you not know that I know what I'm doing.
Oh, there we are. Hello.
You forget I'm a technical genius.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, I'm more of a genius than you are.
That's
Anyway,
you're
welcome
older.
to Ask the Unicorn. And this is my sidekick, Kazi.
Hello. This is episode 28, and today is April 9th, 2014, and lime green is the color. What? Look. We're matching.
Yeah, that's just nerdy. Anyway, hope to have a great show tonight, and been looking forward to the show all week. I had to celebrate a birthday with a friend earlier who actually celebrated with me on my birthday, and I was returning the favor. And hopefully that person is having a wonderful birthday celebration. Sorry for the delay for you all, but it's very, very important to honor your friends, especially when they have gone out of their way for you. Now, I was going to talk about some things tonight, but I think I'm going to go a little sooner to the questions. I just want to remind everyone of something. You know, I know that we get very, very hurried in our lives, and we like to pretend to be so mature and grown up, but we're all just kind of kids. And if you can kind of remember that you're just a child that's playing adult, then you'll actually lighten up on yourself and other people. I have had the opportunity to talk to people this week, and they're just very serious, way too serious about things that shouldn't be serious at all. In fact, you can probably watch people like that on the news if you just kind of look at the news. But I hope we have some great questions tonight. I never get the opportunity to look at the questions, but usually we have some great questions. I will answer any type of question for you. It doesn't matter whether it's metaphysical, paranormal, mystical, or spiritual. There are two types of questions I do not answer, nor do I choose to really discuss them, and that is whether or not a spouse is cheating on someone else or another spouse, or if someone's going to die. I don't think that you should ask those kind of questions, because the truth is you really don't want to know. So it's far better just to let those kind of things lay and use your own intuition to answer those questions yourself. However, any other question is fair game. Now, I am not one that follows trends, nor am I one that follows fads. So if you want to ask questions about things, what are they naming kids now? For a while it was the indigo children, and then it was the crystal children. Yet no one knew exactly what kind of crystal they were. And the diamond orb children, and so many different things. Here's the thing about that particular thing. Listen, we in our particular society love to follow fads, and we love to jump on a bandwagon. So if one person walks around wearing a ribbon that happens to be blue and says that ribbon is supposed to represent something, then all of a sudden there's a cacophony of ribbons, and they all represent something. And the truth is that the colors represent a lot of things, and it's great that people like to do ribbons and so forth, and do little symbols that have been used for ages, to represent one thing, and now they're supposed to represent another thing. The bottom line is this: if we all just kind of lighten up, I think that we'll appreciate everything for what it actually is, especially when it comes to colors and ribbons. There's some very good and worthy things that are out there, but I was talking to a client just the other day, and we were discussing her son that likes to wear pink shirts. And I said, well, I like that too. It goes very well with my skin, But I had to remind this person what pink actually did represent. It's not a girly color. What pink actually represents is bravery, fearlessness, pure love, friendship, and transformation. And if we really look to the higher learning area of things, we'll come up with some really wonderful things that help each other change and grow and evolve. So hopefully that's what everyone is doing out there. And if you're not, start. It'll be very, very good. Okay, now, onward to the questions. What have you got for me?
First question is from Adrian. And he asks, how do I deal with things beyond my understanding? I know that there are things just beyond my reach, although I don't really know what they are, almost like trying to invent a new color from beyond our visual spectrum. Can we alter our future from external forces by opening doors of spirituality?
Okay, to answer this particular type of question, I'm going to have to do it this way. If something is outside your realm of understanding, then you really don't have to deal with it at all. However, when it comes into your realm, then you do have the opportunity to understand it. You just have to learn about it first. The first step to understanding anything is to accept it. Okay? You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to disbelieve in it. You merely have to accept it. So if you can understand a thing, if you can accept a thing, then that acceptance will bridge you to knowing what that thing is. Why? Because you'll be interested enough to find out exactly what it is that you're trying to do and exactly what it is that is showing itself to you. The understanding will come later. We love to understand things, and it's great that you love to understand things. You just kind of have to pick and choose your battles because you really don't want to understand everything. And there's an old saying, and I say it a lot, which is be careful what you wish for. Because if you're looking to understand something, you have to make sure that that which you're trying to understand is worth your understanding. Otherwise, you'll go through an entire experience that has absolutely no bearing on you or nothing to do, but you will understand because you've gone through something. Now, if you're looking to change something or transform something that has to do with the future, this is the most important thing that you have to look at. The future is just like the past. It is exactly like the past. In this particular way, it's not here. The best thing for you to do is to deal with the now. You can think about the future and say, okay, well, I've been shown this is something that's a possible future for me, but understand this, the future is not written. That's why we call it the future. So to try to understand the future has no basis in reality. Now, as a person that does readings or gives a person does readings and helps them to navigate their life, that's exactly what I do, is navigate. However, with the full understanding that the future is one of those things that is way more malleable than air or water. Therefore, it can change at any moment in time. And the moment that you actually get a finger on the future, it will change. It is just the way that things are. So you kind of have to look at it this way. Rather than asking what you're going to understand that is outside of your realm of understanding, accept what's in your realm of understanding. Accept it fully. Learn about it fully. Understand entirely what it is that you are doing and going through. Then we can step up into something that isn't even landed yet. Okay? Doesn't mean to limit yourself. It merely means to remain grounded. So that what you're trying to, even if you're trying to manifest something that has to do with vision, you understand that vision always has a practical use. Vision isn't just there for the sake of vision, nor is it to show you something that's very nebulous or something that you cannot understand. Everything on the face of this planet can be understood, whether it be a concept, a principle, a reality, whether it be a personality or a person, place, or thing. It can all be understood. You just have to have one key component. Two key components, actually. The acceptance, which we talked about. But also, patience. Remembering that patience is ever moving forward. It is not waiting for anything. I'll think about that for a while. Good question. A little complex, but it was good. Okay. What do we got next?
Hello, my name is Miriam, and I was wondering, Ahura, what is the best argument, in your opinion, that proves that prayer is real?
There is no argument. Prayer is real. Bottom line. The best proof that you have, you're looking at them. Okay? The best proof that you have is people that walk up and down the street every single day when they probably shouldn't be. Things that change imminently. Things that change just like that. Things that change slowly. You see, you never want to get into an argument when it comes to things like prayer. Prayer is something that the Holy Spirit takes care of, and the Holy Spirit is always very prevalent. If you don't believe it, take a deep breath. that's proof enough. On the other end, prayer always works. Always. It may not work exactly the way that you want it to, but it works the way that prayer works. When you ask for something, you have to know exactly what it is that you're asking for. Understand the implications of why you are asking for that particular thing. Understanding that God, Goddess, the universe, the Holy Spirit is not your slave. And then understanding that you have to do something in this particular physical realm. Not just sit there and ask for something to be changed. Do something to help it change. You can move mountains. We all can. So, the best argument that I have for, or something that proves that prayer works, is no argument. It merely is. Prayer does work. When you can prove to me that there are no strings on you and that nobody, nothing caused that to work, it's just a matter of cells and what does science say? Cells and bones and blood and blah, 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 and that's all there is. Prove it. Prove it to me. And in that same instance, I will prove to you that prayer works. But believe you me, those of us that have relied on prayer, and those of us that understand what prayer does, know that prayer works. So there is no argument. It's more like a statement. So I'll make it for you. Prayer, when prayer is performed the way that prayer is supposed to be performed, works. But even if it's not performed the way that it's supposed to be performed, it will work. Just in the way that prayer works. Beyond that, I'll leave that up to you if you choose to argue. Not that you mean anything contentious, that's not what I'm saying, because I heard you. What I'm saying is, it's best not to argue over those things that have existed long before you and myself. If you argue about them, then you're getting into belief. The pre-existence of a thing negates your belief or disbelief. I prayed that I would be able to do this show. I prayed that I would be able to do something significant. And then I stood up and made my prayers moving, doing. And I get to do something significant every single day. Why? Because I placed myself in that particular position so that I could do something significant every single day. So, but if you need something that's a little more mundane, I lost my eardrum when I was a wee little child. No eardrum. Doctors told me that I would not be able to have good balance. I would not be able to hear well. They were wrong, of course, because I knew better. I knew that the universe would take care of it. Why? Because I prayed they would. And they did. There are people that pray every single day. Good things happen, bad things happen. But you have to take into consideration that some of the bad things that happen don't necessarily have to do with prayer or God or Goddess. We can all have bad things happen. We can all have good things happen. It's not about bad and good. It's about whether or not prayer works. And I will say to you with 100% assurity that it does. You just have to look for how it's working. Hope that helps.
Okay.
Sorry, I got all Morpheus at you. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, wow. What to say now? I know. Just to let you all know that this Sunday, the 13th, Ahura will be doing a psychic self-defense and a psychic development workshop at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in Saco. At the Ramada Inn in Saco. It starts at 10:30, and there's an admission fee of $20. That's really creepy when you lean over like that.
Shut up. I can lean over if I want to.
And just tomorrow is Teresa's birthday, so I wanted to tell.
Oh, well,
Teresa.
isn't that lovely? Hello, Teresa.
Happy birthday!
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday to you. Teresa's a wee little one. She's very cute. She's very, very cute. And Amanda, her mom, is very, very dear to me. And so is Robert, her dad.
Robert.
And I hope you guys do something really, really special with her. If you saw Teresa, you just fall in love with her, you know. And I hope she has a very wonderful birthday. All right, so what have you got for me next? Are there any questions?
Yep. With the increase of magic coming our way, as we discussed in previous episodes, will that also magnify the application of universal principles, for example, karma, law of exchange, and other such things?
It doesn't necessarily amplify what's happening all along. It will just make itself more obvious. Okay? In other words, it would be more prevalent. So not necessarily amplified, just more obvious. Okay? That magic that's coming may not necessarily be in the form that people would think that it is, but it is definitely there. As far as the law of exchange goes and things of that particular nature, they've always been applicable. They've always been very, very prominent. They've always been very, very operative. It's just that you'll be better able to see how it happens. Look, think of it this way. You know, there's and I like to do this to show that even though that book that people like to call the Bible has been greatly fabricated, there is some truth in it. And one of the things is that you have to understand that we only see part of the story. So when the element that creates magic, or the element that allows magic to be, and the element that gives magic substance hits this particular realm, what happens is how we're seeing through a kind of a foggy glass, or as it's stated, a glass darkly, all of a sudden it's clear. And then you'll see things very crystal clear. Now, it doesn't mean that there's some cataclysmic moment that's going to come where people disappear and leave their clothes behind, and all of a sudden we call that the rapture. Okay. Let's say that there's an event like that. None of us are going to know the moment when it actually happens, okay? Just the way that it is, okay? But what I can say to you is this. There's some things that will be made apparent, extremely apparent, and some things that we'll only see part of. And it says, for now, we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. But what that basically means is that we only see part of the picture for right now, and it's not because we're stupid or because we're dumb. It's because the element that would actually make everything very, very crystal clear is not necessarily in abundance. But there's a point in time when it is in abundance. And because it's in abundance, that wonderful mechanism that we all have will actually come into play and make things very, very crystal clear. So it's kind of like, you know, you've got a little bit of mud on your eyes, and all of a sudden it goes away and you can see things for what they are. So they already are operating the way that they're supposed to operate. It's just our awareness of it that is falling just a wee bit short. But then once we get our glasses cleaned, all of a sudden you'll have the full awareness of it, and then you'll have some choices to make. And the choices will be a lot simpler, a lot easier, so to speak. Okay. And as far as principles go, this is the thing about principles, is that principles have no beginning and they have no end. So they're always prevalent. They're always there, no matter what. Even if all of a sudden everyone just went ape nuts and decided to be totally evil, the principles that exist, that have existed, will always exist and they will always be. At that point, you have a choice to make. You can either follow the crowd or you can step off and say, no, I'm not going to go that way just because everybody thinks it is really, really popular. I'm not going to go that way just because you all are pressuring me to go that way. What I'm going to do is find the principle that suits me, and I'm going to live by that principle. Okay, so principles are always there. There will always be. They won't stop no matter what. That's what makes them principles. We can choose which principles to live by. That again has to do with awareness and acceptance. So if we become aware of all of these principles, then we have a better choice. Now, here's another little thing. If you are aware of all the principles that there are, what does that give you? What does that account for? Being aware of every single principle makes it so that we have what attribute? Okay, that's good. Free will. This is the very thing that free will is based upon. Principle. Do you understand? And since we all have free will, we all have principles, and a multitude of principles. Why? Because one principle is not existent solely and by itself. One principle relies on another principle in order for it to be a principle, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so forth. This is just the way that it works. Okay, it's a mechanism. It's a giant mechanism that works perfectly and increasingly perfectly. Okay, so before I go into mad scientist mode, I hope that helps you out. And we're going to go to the next question. What do you got?
We have Elise on the line if you'd like to speak to her.
Okay. Do you have any other questions here?
I don't have any other questions.
Okay, here, let me talk to Elise.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, you've got to turn your sound down there.
Okay.
How you doing?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Have this question.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Good. I was wondering. I've been praying into like a cup of water and pouring it down the drain. And I was wondering if it really does anything. Will it change like the waters of the earth, and will it help people change their attitudes, or is that just like a pipe dream that I have?
Well, Elise, as far as I know about you, you're a very devout Christian. Not only that, you're also a prayer warrior. Now, you know what prayer can do.
Yeah, that's why I've been doing that, because I really felt that it's going to make a difference.
Okay. Then the one thing that you don't want to do is question that which you already know. Okay, remember.
I was just asking also to kind of like add to the bricks that you've been building about the prayer.
Yeah.
About what the person asked before.
Yeah.
And I want to answer her question also that I was blown up by a tire in 1999, and my ear went deaf, and it was healed after, and the next day when a whole lot of people in our church were praying together.
Well, we do know that knowing that prayer works, we also know that a group of people that are praying on the same thing can cause a change. But one person praying on something can also cause a change. It just depends on how you do the prayer. Now, there are a lot of people that think that prayer is moaning, groaning, and begging. And that's not really what prayer is. However, there's some people that can do some pretty, what we would think, what other people would think of some pretty far out things. That's their relationship with the Holy Spirit. That's their relationship with prayer. And, you know, that's something that should never be questioned, really. But there is a definite way to pray. If you're the type of person that is very interested in prayer, you can go and you can learn. There's one way, the 23rd Psalm, which is what Jesus was teaching, he wasn't teaching that that's the prayer. He was teaching that's the way to pray. But prayer comes down to a simple thing. The most simple form of prayer is actually just speaking. Speaking from your heart to whoever it is that you are praying to. Not speaking at, not begging, not moaning, complaining, whining. Just speaking what you really have, what you really want to know, what you really need, what you really want to bring into your life or get out of your life. This is what prayer is. And if you're doing something like praying over the water so that the water that you are drinking is going to be purified, then do so. Because it does work.
I'm praying over the water so that it could purify the earth.
Well, the earth is already pure. That's the thing. I do know that it's been contaminated by a few things, but this earth is...
But not like purify, like physically purify it, but spiritually purify it and help people to realize that we really need peace on earth instead of fighting with each other.
Well, you're right. Then what you do in that case is you pray for people. And you can, pray over the water, and it does definitely change. There's even been some scientific methods that have actually, or scientific research that's actually shown how water. Yeah. Well, I also did research as well, and other people that I know have done research as well, and shown how water changes its vibration depending on how much thought is focused at it, and what type of thought is focused at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those areas where the spiritual and science do actually meet. And for those of you that are very staunch scientists, I don't care. The truth is that, spirituality and scientific methods can be very, very good friends. You just have to get out of that small, myopic vision that most scientists do have. Now, pure scientists have a different perspective. A pure scientist will actually take every single thing into consideration. I've said that before, and I'll hold true to that. But in truth, water changes. Water is one of the most malleable substances that there is. So it's going to take the form of whatever contains it, or even whatever's in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not a pipe dream. Besides, you don't smoke a pipe.
No. Okay.
So you're right on track, like always.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for calling in. We always appreciate you calling.
Oh, and I'll be praying for your fair on Sunday.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, you take care.
You too.
All right. It seems that people want to talk about prayer, which is really good. You can't go wrong by praying. Okay? It doesn't make you religious. It doesn't make you wrong or stodgy or anything like that. Just remember something. Prayer is whatever you choose it to be. No one can tell you necessarily that your prayers are wrong, or even how to pray. They can only make a suggestion. They can say, if you need to do it that way, then here's a good way to do it, which is exactly what great teachers have always said. If you choose to go with the dogmatic version of prayer, you can do that, and you're totally entitled. Whatever is going to work for you, it all comes down to who you are and what you're trying to do. Prayer is something that takes passion. It doesn't necessarily take belief. Many times it just takes need. And this is one of those areas where you can make your wants and your needs match. Many things stem from prayer. Meditation stems from prayer. Many of the divine the divine arts stem from prayer, and so do the divine sciences. Even manual divine sciences or manual divine arts such as Tai Chi and yoga. They stem from prayer. Singing stems from prayer. Music stems from prayer. Drawing, painting, sculpting, acting. All of these wonderful things. Sometimes you can look at a sunset and it looks just, all you can do is think of praying, And I know that when a person decides to do something in prayer, they may be surrounded by a bunch of people that think that they're being strange, or think that they're being religious, or think that they're, being a nutcase or whatever. But the bottom line is this. You have to do what's in your heart to do. And if you can actually say that it is in your heart to pray, and you're not doing it for some grand show, you're not proving to everybody else how well you can pray, and you're just doing what you can do privately. Or if you do want to do it in a group, because I've known some very, very wonderful groups that do prayer vigils, and they do these prayer vigils day and night. And they affect a change when they need to affect a change. And not only that, they bring things into fruition. The power is in prayer, and prayer is in power. So, don't think of prayer as something you do only when you're religious. Think of prayer as something that is. And you get to join that particular dance if you so choose to. One important thing I can say to you is don't let someone dissuade you from prayer. Prayer is a powerful, powerful, powerful thing. It can calm the mind. It can change the course of storms. It can stop earthquakes. It can stop whole wars. It can cure diseases. It can make crops grow and make rain pour. It can do all these wonderful things. It can bring calm to you when you're frightened. Just remember, prayer is like a personage. And remember who you're speaking to when you are praying. Whoever that is to you. So make prayer at least the area that you show respect. So, I hope that helps you with prayer. Anything else?
We have another question regarding prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, I know that prayer can change things and have a positive effect, especially when a group of people pray earnestly. But what happens when you have a large group of people praying for something harmful or negative?
The only thing I can tell you about that is that prayer does work. And if you get a bunch of people concentrating on the exact same thing, to a degree it can work too. You just have to hope that there's another side that actually has protection against that. Remember, prayer is not something that is meant to do evil. Prayer is something that is meant to fulfill, to bring things about. It's up to us what we do with prayer. For years, centuries even, there were people that were using prayer negatively. There are still people that use prayer negatively. Sometimes they get their prayers answered. Sometimes they did not. Well, they always get answered, but sometimes they don't come into a manifestation form. If they are going to pray to do bad things, you have to count on this fact that there are people that are praying to countermand what it is that they are praying for. Because believe you me, there are definitely people out there countermanding what you are praying for when you pray for positivity. That will bring me into a whole spiritual battle that is going on all the time. And sometimes it seems endless, but you can turn the tide. So when you know that there are groups of people that are praying for dark things, unless you're asking me totally hypothetical, do something about it. Be the side that prays for the positivity. That positivity will go a long way. Beyond that, people come up with scenarios all the time. What if? But what if? In my world, there are very few what ifs. It's more like what is. I happen to know that there are people that pray for negativity. To them, it's positive. But en masse is very, very negative. In fact, there are whole churches that pray for negativity. What's that one church that likes to go around damning gay people?
Oh, something Baptist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
The ones that show up at the
which is absolutely ridiculous.
That are in at a
And I have to say that. Look,
soldier's funeral.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I have to say this, and hopefully somebody from that church is watching this. It's the most stupid thing you could possibly ever do. It is none of your business who a person chooses to be with. Okay? Bottom line. And to say that God hates anybody, what do you know? You have no idea what God hates. I can definitely tell you this, though. There's a whole bunch of them up there that don't approve of the kind of crap that you're doing. Cursing someone because of their preference. It's none of your business. Stay out of it. Let people be who they have to be. Okay? Telling people that God hates them because they're gay.
God might hate them for hating people.
Well, I don't think that
they were.
God is capable of hate. That's the other guy. If they're talking about hating somebody, then they're working for the other guy.
Westboro Baptist.
Oh, that's okay.
The name.
Whatever. So, the bottom line is this. If you know that someone is out there praying for negative things, then do something about it. Pray for the positive things. Ask that whatever it is that they're praying for to happen to somebody is rendered null and void. That is ineffectual. That will go back to them without touching anybody. Without affecting anybody other than themselves. And let whatever that they are asking to happen to someone else happen to them. That's what you can pray for. And if it's something bad that they are wishing to happen to someone, it needs to happen to them until they cease being that way. This is really important. If you're going to bounce something back at someone, when they stop doing it, there's no reason to be mad at them anymore. Just let it go. And then you're within the walls of prayer. Don't go looking for fights. Okay? But if you have to fight, fight well. And if that fight is in prayer, then pray well. Just remember that. At the same time as I'm teaching you about positivity, there's someone on the other side teaching a mass of people about negativity. It's just that way. So, if you see the need, do the deed. Quite simple. What have you got next?
It's pretty quiet.
I'll talk to you about prayer. If you have questions about prayer or anything else, even if it's about meditation, if it's about chanting, or things of paranormal nature, I'll be more than happy to answer your question. And for those of you that need to get in contact with me or anything like that, I do readings, I do counselings, I do spiritual counselings, I teach classes. If you want to take classes, you can get in contact with us at www.unicorn-co.com or also www.asktheunicorn.com.
You can also reach us by phone, and that is area code 207-347-5686.
So, it's good questions about prayer.
Recently, you've been working with singing bowls. Can we
Yes, I have.
explain a little bit about
There's
singing
nothing to
bowls,
really
or-
explain about singing bowls. I work with singing bowls and help people to understand that the resonance actually clears things out. Not only does it clear things out, if you charge your bowl with a certain thought, that bowl will do exactly what you ask it to do. In order for me to actually properly show you about those or teach you about those things, I'd actually need to actually, why don't you get my singing bowl?
Sure.
I will give you a little bit about this, okay, because it's really important. I use a singing bowl when I'm doing an entity removal or a energy cleansing of a house, and sometimes, if I have to do an exorcism, I will use that as well. What the bell does is it purifies, it cleans things out, just like a sweeping of things of a negative nature. Now, I use this for banishment and protection. I also use it to calm. Now, if you look at it, there are many of you out there that are very familiar with singing bowls. So you can get them in different sizes. Some are huge, some are really tiny, some are made of crystal, some are brass, some are aluminum, some are steel. It just depends on what it is. Now, ultimately, what I'm going to get is an electrum singing bowl. That one is made of a combination of silver and gold, highly conductive. But with this one, it's very, very resonant. You can hear that. I hope that's not too loud for you all. And the resonance lasts quite a bit. But there's a practice that will bring you into a state of meditation when you're doing the singing bowl, and there are different types. I prefer the hardwood. I know there are some that have, the felt tip things, but it's a very, very simple process. And I know that many people have kind of done this with a wine glass, and the longer I play this, you see that it resonates. With this particular bowl, what I can do is pinpoint where an energy is coming from. And by playing this, I can actually clear the whole room of any negative energy. What it also does is it settles the mind of those that hear it. The whole idea is to do it uninterrupted. If you choose to sing along with it, that's just fine. Very wonderful process. And you see I've got my little seal on it. That seal is what I've charged it to do, which is to banish astral forms and negative entities, or even negative energies. So that whatever you're doing, you can also use it as a prayer bowl, and you can do your prayer while ringing it. There's a type of exorcism that you use a bell with, and that is my bell. I've also used it to help students when they were in an anxiety attack or panicking about something, or just very, very stressed out, to relieve the tension. I think that every home should have at least one of these, and I think that it would be a very, very good practice for one to learn to master using it. So when you're ready to learn about these things, it can also be used in tone travel, and alongside of a ritualistic Tai Chi type of a exercise, and also for yoga and things of just a meditational nature. Also really good to clean your house by, physically. Okay, I hope that helps you all. If you want to learn more about tools, fine. I'll teach you about the different tools that there are. Oh, by the way, for those of you that don't know this, I wrote a book a while ago that is actually called The Way of the Unicorn, and you can order it from us. You can order it online. You can order it at www.asktheunicorn.com, or unicorn-cove.com, and you can also go to Amazon and order the book. That's The Way of the Unicorn. I'll be writing another book very soon about psychic self-defense, and
I thought you were going to do the U-boot.
That will come later. It has to be psychic self-defense, and then I'll go into the other things.
Awesome.
Okay, so for those of you that are waiting, for thinking that I'm going to, hurry up and write the book, I'm not a really fast writer. I mean, I can just sit and do it, but I do so many things that, when I get ready to write, I have to just sit down and do it. And I'm pretty good. I'm just not a really fast typist. I'm pretty good on the piano and the keyboard and the violin and all that good stuff. When it comes to typing, it's just something in me that makes me want to be like Schroeder and do this. And these are my typing fingers. Okay? And, this is just a space thing. So basically I use 4 fingers to type with. But sure, I'll be more than happy to show you all about the tools. If you have questions about certain tools, certain crystals, the reason for a staff or a wand, or different things for candles, what types of candles to use, incense, and what they will do for you, I'll be more than happy to help you about that. So please ask your questions, and you can also give me a call. You see, I'm looking at this little thing that we like to call a phone. It's right in front of me, and nobody is calling. Okay. Do you have any questions at all?
No.
Okay. What time do we have here?
It is 9:16.
All right. I think what I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to go ahead and, unless there are any questions, I'll give a little bit more time if you have any questions for me, because this is basically, the show is called Ask the Unicorn, which basically means that you kind of have to ask me questions.
We have Trisha says she's too scared to ask.
Scared of what, Trisha? I can't believe that you're scared of anything. You know, if you have something to ask, then ask. And Trisha, by the way, is, believe she's still learning to speak Tareo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about you?
shut up. You know, she's learning to speak Tareo, and she does so pretty well. You know, does better than I do.
Mhm.
You know, so I don't know what you're afraid of asking. I think that there are probably a lot of people that just are afraid of asking something. You don't have to be afraid. I'm very, very informal. You know, I just look like a mean, nasty ogre, but I'm not. I'm pretty cool when it comes down to it. What are you typing?
Asking if there are any questions.
But I just asked that. I just asked that right here.
I'm asking right here through the computer. Oh, we have Stacy on the phone. That's
Oh,
why.
Stacy.
Yay! Hi, Stacy.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good. I'm trying to watch your show, which is this is the first time that I was able to get online. Yay!
Yay.
So, are you online now?
We are.
You are. Awesome. Okay. I have two questions.
Okay.
One is, I've been listening to your shows, and the lady that actually you've answered this more than once about for different things about how, like, when you come home at night, you should change your clothes.
Yeah.
To change the energy, and then the lady who had like all of her stuff stolen, and you told her to get rid of the clothes that she bought at the thrift store.
Right.
So my question is, how come you can't just sage those things instead of having to get rid of them?
Well, because sage is not something that stays. It's not a permanent solution. Sage is only a...
Down over here on this thing.
What?
There we go. So that gives you.
Oh, we have
There we
another
go.
call.
Yeah, you might turn your sound down.
Yeah, I turned it down. Okay, is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Sage is something that's just temporal. In other words, it's just a Band-Aid. It can, knock things off of whatever it is that you're doing, but you have to think about the vibration. I know that people think that sage is a lot more powerful than it is. There are some things that will just, look at your sage and laugh at it. And you really have to take that into consideration. Your sage is not one of those things, it can cure every single thing, but it is meant for ceremony. In other words, it's meant to clear an area, for the time that ceremony is going on, or the duration that the sage is actually burning. But there's some things that will definitely penetrate a wall of sage. And it's kind of like putting a wall of salt, salt around you in a circle, thinking that you're going to ward off every bit of witchcraft. That doesn't always work that way. Sage is pretty good, and depending upon the quality of the sage and what type of sage and what else you're going to mix it with and how are you using it. So I know that a lot of people, really like using sage and say the sage is a cure-all, but it actually is not.
Okay, because you see that a lot, and I think, like you say, it's more popular now because people are kind of just kind of learning in mass about energy.
Well,
it's kind of too, do we always need a person with really advanced skills, or are there some things that we can, cut those negative energies?
Well, yeah, there is definitely.
Just get rid of stuff.
Well, yeah, definitely that. You can learn to do these things yourself. It's really simple. You can use the sage. There are other mixtures that you can use. The key thing that you're going to have to use is common sense. You have to think about what it is that you're bringing into your home.
Right.
what it is that you're picking up. You know, perhaps that thing does have some really nasty energy about it. You're just thinking that, well, you know, I can take it and clean it off and just sage it and it'll be okay. You know, you have to really use your head here.
Is that something that you would recommend, like, for instance, if you loved antiques, would you recommend, like, pendling it to find out if it has any connection? Like, you know, if you wanted to take something home and you don't have any specific skills in the area of, like, being clairvoyant, could someone just use a pendulum and ask if it's something that needs to be cleared? Is that advisable?
You can use a pendulum, yes, you can. But however, you have to know what you're doing with the pendulum. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing with the pendulum, you can use a pendulum all day, and it's not really going to tell you anything that you understand.
Right.
Find a divinatory tool that you can use. Not only that, the vibration of that particular object will make itself apparent. Okay, if all of a sudden you've taken this object home and things are going really, really bad for you when they weren't going before you brought this object home, that's a sign. That's just telling you straight out, listen, you probably shouldn't have brought this into your home. Okay, because remember, there are things that have vibrations steeped on them for years and for years and for years and for years, and then you think you're going to clean it up with sage. You know, I know that we all like to jump on, especially in our New Age community. You know, you find people that come up with these airy-fairy fluffy things and think that everything is airy-fairy and fluffy. However, when you encounter a demon, I have to tell you this, they're anything but airy-fairy and fluffy. And they're probably going to laugh at you for holding a cross in front of them or waving sage about.
Right.
You know,
okay.
so...
Well, and that's, of course, when they bring someone like you in. I was just wondering, because as I'm listening, we do love the idea, those of us that are trying to be green, of recycling, reusing, you know, repurposing, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, well, I don't want people not to do that, but this is a very good point.
Yeah, I'm all for
and
recycling
I've
things.
considered before, but I just had this huge floods in my house. Like, I had to leave for a week at a time within a year's span. So now I'm thinking back, like, ooh, maybe it's something I brought into my house. Because sometimes we kind of go, well, maybe Spirit wanted me out of there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm supposed to be being told to move. You know, we kind of try to look deeper into it. But I never even thought that it could be something with negative energy in my house.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
It
definitely.
didn't occur to me.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you don't want to go and get a shirt that Charles Manson wore.
Ew.
No,
You know,
not at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just something that's kind of interesting to me because now I'm rethinking that whole thing.
Yeah, you know, you just have to rethink things. I listen, I used to love thrift shopping, okay? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I knew how to clean most things, but there are some things that it's not even worth your cleaning, you know?
Right.
I mean, if you get a shirt, you get a pair of pants, or you get a jacket or something like that, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I've looked at some stuff that I just went, no way. And believe me, I'm very experienced at this and very good at it. And I've just said, nah, I am not even taking that on.
And you think of that, really, I think we tend to think of it the way, like, you know, we see in movies being like an object. So it was kind of surprising for me to hear that it could even extend clothing.
Oh, definitely. It can extend to anything that holds a vibration. Okay, it can even eating food at a place that is bad can just mess up your whole week.
So interesting. I did hear that. I used to have some friends that went to Sunsplash every year in Jamaica, and they were taught that very few people there actually eat out in restaurants because of the energy.
Yeah, because of the energy. Mm-hmm. Yep. And, you know, that's something that I've known since I was just a kid, you know, is that if you're eating in a place that has bad energy, more than likely you're going to get some repercussion from that. You know, this is why I was telling people just last week, listen, if you go to an establishment where the staff is unhappy, don't eat there. You know?
That makes total sense. It really does. It's so great to listen because now it makes you kind of rethink everything as I'm listening to your shows.
That's good. That's very, very good. You know, there are a lot of people that are suffering a lot of maladies right now because of a vibration or an errant vibration that wasn't even really meant for them.
Huh.
You know, and we really
I guess
have to look at
I'll even
that.
get a reading to find out whether it's something else or what, because we wouldn't know, if we don't have any of these skills or any of the tools.
Well, that's why I teach the classes. I mean, so
Right.
that, and I'm not the only teacher around. There are other people that teach as well. I teach these classes to make people aware, to help them to understand that there's more out there than they think. To help them be able to ward off things. Some things are very, very simple, but some things are very, very complex. And you have to know them both.
And can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Okay. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while. I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but it feels right to me, that sometimes people will have, it's kind of a two-parter. Sometimes people will have like a birthmark in a significant area of their body where perhaps in a past life maybe something significant happened there, or maybe it has so there was things on your body like the moles or certain markings could have maybe more significance than just being a random thing.
That's absolutely correct.
It is correct.
Mhm.
Okay. And then if something happens, like for instance, I had a staph infection right over my third eye recently.
Okay.
And that kind of made me think, I wonder if this is a random thing, or if one of the things I was told when I was really young is that healing energy was actually being created within my body. That when I was younger, I shouldn't be doing the work of healing because it's apparently would have been too much for my body to run that much energy. And so it kind of all tied together for me, and I thought, I wonder if that was a random thing, or if that could have been doing some kind of clearing out of energy in that area.
Well, it's definitely a Sixth Circuit malfunction. So it may not even be either of those. It may be that Sixth Circuit needed to be adjusted for you to be able to help that energy. Because if you got it over your third eye, that's right in the Sixth Circuit area, or the sixth chakra area. Okay, so I would say that perhaps one of them was off. Maybe you suffered an injury, or someone was focusing an awful lot of thought on you, or maybe you were going through a portion of your life that was just very anxious, and you can get your thoughts together. And it's a result. It's because of that Sixth Circuit malfunction.
Oh, very interesting. Well, I love that. And everybody always accuses me of being overly optimistic, but I really always do see different reasons for things that can be seemingly bad.
Well, usually when a person accuses you of being overly optimistic is because they're just not optimistic. So there's no such thing as overly optimistic. It's just that person would prefer if everyone was negative around them so that they could be the hero. So you keep being overly optimistic. I don't think there's such a thing. It's kind of like you can't have too much protection. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and I'm not saying like everything's wonderful. Obviously, it wasn't great having a staph infection, but if you can think to yourself something that may have had more of a purpose, then at least it makes it easier to deal with.
True.
Some of these negative situations.
And it also gives you something to fight it with. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
You remember, positivity is one of those things. If you're being optimistic about things, you're not giving up.
Right.
You're not just throwing in the towel and saying that I'm beaten. And people do that every day. And there are other people that are around them that will talk them into throwing the towel in. And then all of a sudden their life goes apart. And you know what those people will turn around and say to that person after they've destroyed them utterly? They'll say, well, you shouldn't have listened to me.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it'd be far better to be what they like to call over-optimistic than being totally negative. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't really get anyone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep thinking of that. When people call themselves, they liken it to being more realistic. But I'm always changing the language around to saying, no, what you believe in is what you're creating.
Yeah. I mean,
and what your consciousness will notice. So if you believe something is a bad situation, then your mind will pick up on all this proof that the universe offers for that.
I find it rather interesting that people would call being real being negative. That's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
it is, and it's no fun either. I mean, if something bad's going to happen and you can find some positives in it, wouldn't you rather be that way. And of course, we also know that the vibrational frequency of your body, when you're negative, is lower, and then your immune system goes down.
Correct.
So we want to stay positive as much as possible.
Yeah, and that brings me to another point. I would like to talk with you at length about your vibrational frequency.
Oh yes, we're getting there.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a huge shift, as you know, right now, in like every way, and I keep hoping that I'm landing, and I'm seeing the end of that tunnel. So it's kind of exciting, but we'll see. It's like I said, all these doors keep slamming, and I always just say, okay, well, that just means that I'm supposed to go a different way.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't get depressed about it, but it is kind of funny. You just one thing happens and you're all excited about it, and the door slams. You kind of go, all right, well, it's a new thing for me to do. Is just go a different way. So I'm anticipating within the next, I'd say, week for that to settle down, and then I will definitely give you a call, and I would like to start up my classes again because they were tremendously helpful.
Good.
And helped me get through a lot, and I'm learning a lot.
So
thank you very much.
I appreciate your calling. For those of you that don't know, and this positive woman that I'm talking to right now is the picture of optimism, and she's also the picture of strength, and her name is Stacy. And true, she has been one of my students, and hopefully we get to further our relationship that way. Do you want to talk to them about what it is that you're dealing with? Or
do I want to do what?
Do you want to say something about what you're actually going through? Or is it even important? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I have been experiencing. I don't like to own the disease, so I like to talk about. I've been experiencing metastasized breast cancer, and it's been a really interesting experience because for many years I've been doing spiritual work with people who often have had life-threatening illness. So I feel very fortunate that I was able to use the tools that I've helped other people with for years. Really more in the heading of just spiritual, like I say, positive thinking, and I do Reiki, so, and some other healing forms. And the doctors really didn't, they were very surprised when I did initially pull through because it was very, very serious. They didn't anticipate me making it, and I really feel that it is due to knowing that we can't let that vibrational frequency drop to the point where you're negative because then your immune system plummets and you can't heal.
Yep, this is absolutely correct. And for those of you that didn't hear, she's experienced metastasized breast cancer, and anyone who talks to her, she's just totally positive and very, very optimistic and extremely intelligent. And even the doctors didn't think that she would pull through, and she has. So she helps other people to understand that they have to keep their vibration up. And she's the very example of that. So I just wanted, I wasn't going to say anything myself. I wanted you to actually be able to say it and talk about it a little bit. Okay.
Yes, and I know there's a lot of people that are also very secretive about things, and I don't have that. If anything, I do need to learn a little bit more about maybe a little more protection. But I do kind of feel like when we share things, it gives other people permission to kind of come out and really talk about whatever their situation is too.
And you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, because I always thought of this whenever I talk to you, is that, one day you're going to be on a huge platform so that you can talk to people about this particular thing. Because I've met a lot of people that are going through, things. And to me, when I hear you talk, it doesn't even sound like a hardship at all. It sounds like you're actually studying and you're researching every single area of what it is that you're going through. So you're the living, breathing picture of understanding something, which
That's
I really...
what I'm trying to do, so thank you. That's a big compliment. I'm trying to really understand it from every angle because it's very confusing. And if you're in the traditional medicine, which I have respect for both, the tradition and alternative, it can be very frustrating because if you know better, then you can see what the traditional medicine is blocking out.
Right.
Which is huge. It's huge. I mean, as far as mind-body connection and even as far as alternative therapy.
Yeah.
trying to learn how to blend that, and I would, love one day to be able to have enough information to help other people, because if you're not a multimillionaire, trying to get alternative therapy help is really, it's very difficult because it's very expensive,
Right.
and it's not covered by medical insurance, which is frustrating. And so, yeah, it is, I'm hoping that at one point we can get that approved through our insurance.
Yeah, I'm hoping too. So, we'll all put our prayers with you, which brings us full circle. And we do know that the power of prayer, it will definitely help out in this area.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions.
No problem. Anytime, Stacy.
Talking to you, and I will be calling soon.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Night.
Night.
Bye.
Yeah, Stacy's really neat.
This is fun.
I always I enjoy it when I get to actually deal with someone that's learning, that is really interested in their learning and really throws themselves into whatever it is that they're doing. And we could sit and we talk, and 2 hours would go by, and I'm only supposed to do an hour class, but when you're talking to someone who's really, really definitely interested in what it is that you're teaching, and understand that they are also interested in themselves, it makes it just pass. It's just, I don't even really think about the time of it. So, those of you that are also going through something, this is the place to talk. Okay, if you need answers about what it is that you're doing, this is also that place to talk. And as you see, there are other people that have experiences, whether they be extraterrestrial experiences or mystical experiences or paranormal or spiritual experiences. You can get your questions answered here.
And on that note, I have another question
Okay.
from Trisha. She
Alright.
says, I have now lost 11 people in my life since November. Can you explain why a person, who by the way feels things way too strongly, would have to bear so much pain and so much loss?
Well, there's no explanation for that, Tricia. I can only tell you this, that you do have enough strength to handle these things. And we all lose people. And it's not great. It doesn't make anybody feel wonderful. But you are strong enough that you can handle these situations. Not only are you strong enough, you can help other people handle these situations. I can't give you an answer as to why a person would have to go through these things. I can give you an answer as to what to do to get through them. If you can see that what it is that you're going through will help not only you but other people, and that you can be a witness to what is actually happening, and you really know what a person goes through when they lose someone, so you will be the difference in the truth about what goes on and the fakery about what goes on. There's a lot of people that don't know the pain that you've gone through. There are a lot of people that don't know that type of pain, period, but they will always theorize about it. You and I know the pain of losing. And I can tell you this. You will be far better for it. I am sorry that you've had to go through such pain. I'm also sorry that you've had to go through such pain over and over again. But I know that there's a reason for it, and that reason would most likely be that you will be able to help other people get through it, because you've gotten through it again and again and again. And you're here getting through it again and again. So realize your strength there, Tricia. You do have great strength. Just realize it. I know you, and I know that you're very, very compassionate to the plight of people. You've got to be one of the most non-judgmental people I've ever met. And that's very, very cool. Non-judgmental because you know that that's a form of hurting someone. The only thing we have to do with you is to get you to understand that when you're in pain, you need relief, not more pain. Just accept the relief sometimes. Okay? Allow yourself to be able to lean on someone else's shoulder when you're hurting. You don't always have to go it alone. I seriously hope you'll take that into consideration. Okay. I hope that helps you out. What else?
I'm checking.
She's checking.
I'm checking.
For those of you that have called in with questions, I really do appreciate it. And for those of you that would like to ask questions but are afraid, you have nothing to fear here. Just ask your questions. Be okay with asking your questions. Tell your friends. I mean, this is that time when I do the show, you get the opportunity to ask all of your questions. You get to learn some things. And if they want to know some things about the paranormal, the metaphysical and spiritual and mystical, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Tell all of your friends to listen to the show. You know, the more people we get, the cooler it is. Okay, don't just like us on Facebook. Just tell them to come to the show. You know, because Facebook is really kind of funny. You get all these people that say, oh, you know, when you're trying to do something, getting people to come to it or getting people to buy a product or things like that, you really want them to do that. What they'll do is they'll just say, oh, I like that idea that you're doing that, or I like that you are selling this, or I like that you are having this show. And you say, well, great, if you like it, why don't you invest in it? And they'll say, well, I just like it. It's really kind of funny, actually. But tell your friends to listen to the show. Tell them to come to the show. I'm okay. You know. That brings me to another point. You know, I'll be doing this festival. What is it? Is it a festival? That I'll actually be doing where I get to teach psychic self-defense, which is something I really like to do. And that's this Sunday. I know something about the events that we go to. There are a lot of very wonderful people that I've met at these events. One of the things that you want to really watch out for when you go to different events, and I'm not talking about this one per se, I'm just saying, when you get someone that comes up to you spreading rumors about someone else, walk away from them. Because it's usually that person that spreads the rumor that is the one that's guilty of spreading negativity. Okay? Just remember that about, and this happens a lot in our New Age community and in our spiritual community. I call it the spiritual community, where you get a group of people that have decided that they're going to be mad at anybody else that's very, very talented, so they'll spread rumors. Don't listen to those kind of things. You know, the moment that someone decides to spread a rumor, you need to walk away from them. Or just tell them like I usually tell them, shut up. If you can't say something to a person's face, you don't need to say it. And yes, I am that person that will say, hey, come here for a second. This person just said this about you. Now you want to tell them? Okay? I'm that person. So just remember, there's enough meat in the kitchen for everyone. And those of us in the New Age community, stop spreading rumors about each other, because you really don't want to spread any more rumors about me. I'll tell you exactly what I'm about. And if I find out that you're the one that's spreading the rumor, I will tell you directly what I'm about. Okay? So, hopefully everyone else takes that type of an attitude. It will be very appreciated. Remember, I am a spiritual man. I'm a very spiritual man, but I am nevertheless a man. Okay? Don't forget that. I'm a unicorn. I know how to use my horn. Okay? All right. Are there any questions at all?
No, looks like that's all.
Well, okie dokie. I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening, and hope to see you all next week. And same unicorn time, same unicorn channel.
God. You can also stop by and visit us at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival this Sunday, April 13th. We'll be there all day with a table representing Unicorn Cove School of Metaphysics. We'll have various items from our store to sell. We'll be selling Ahura's Everything is Unicorn. Ahura's book, The Way of the Unicorn.
I can't even say it.
I can't even say it. There's too many unicorns. And
There can never be enough unicorns.
And he will also be doing a workshop at 10:30 on psychic self-defense and psychic development. Please stop by and visit us.
That is correct. And I do hope that I will see you all. And if I don't, send us some positivity, okay? You know, it's a very, very good event. I've met some, like I said, I've met some really cool people, you know, at these events.
I forgot to tell everybody, he's also going to be doing readings, 10 and 15-minute readings. If you all are interested, come on down.
That is absolutely correct as well.
Right.
And I'll answer your questions if you come and see us. And there'll be other people there that will answer your questions as well. There'll be some very, very good talent there.
This is at the Ramada Inn in Saco.
Yes. So it'll be my first time going to that. This will make 3 festivals that I've actually gone to. 3.
Mm-hmm.
Not counting the Fort Knox one. But 3 festivals. This will be the 3rd one. I have not been to many of these. This is the first time this year that I've actually... Well, this year and the last part of last year have been the first times in 15 years that I've been invited to the reindeer games. You know, but finally I got invited to the reindeer games, and I'm wearing my red nose and everything. So...
We just got a last-minute question from Trisha.
Mm-hmm.
She says, you mentioned relief from the pain. You and I both know my way of relief from the pain. Obviously, that is not good.
No.
So what else is there for me? I have kept my promise to you and my daughter Erica so far, but it's difficult. Every day is difficult. She should learn poi balls.
No, she should learn. Yeah, you should learn. What do you mean? No.
Sorry, I'm excited.
What do you mean? You know ways of getting through things, Trisha. Learn poi balls. You're learning about my culture, right? You're learning about Maori culture. Really learn about it.
Oh, it's so much fun.
The Maori culture knows pain. Okay? Learn about it. Do the poi balls. Do whatever you can.
Poetic.
Exercise. Do disciplines of any kind. Okay? You can always call me. You know where I am. Okay? I'll help you get through it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can always you can Skype me. You can get in touch with me on the net. You can get in touch with me through Facebook. You can get in touch with me. You know my number. Get in touch with me through my number, and you can do exactly what you did tonight. Ask your questions. There are different ways to get through the pain. I've had to employ many, and you know, now I'm an expert on them. It's not that I wanted to be an expert on them. I was kind of forced to be an expert on certain things. But now that I am, I use that expertise to help other people, just like you will. And yes, you're right. That's not the way that you've dealt with it in the past is not a good way to deal with it. And I expect you to keep your promise to me. I'm holding you to it. Okay, not letting you off the hook. Period.
Yeah, the whole ceremony, the welcoming, the Maori welcoming ceremony is very good for lamenting the spirits that have passed and clearing the way.
Yeah. You can also, sometimes we have internet dance parties. We'll do Skype and have a dance party on Skype. You know, so maybe I'll let you do that too. That'd be fun. Okay, is that it?
Yep, looks like that's it.
All right. Thank you for joining us on Ask the Unicorn once again. See you all next week. Remember, write your questions down. If you have any questions, just write them down. Okay? Then you'll have them right in front of you. So you can say, okay, I'm going to ask Z this. What's that thing on your face? Or whatever you have to say. You know, just ask the questions. Have a good week. Be good to each other. Okay? Find a way to be good to each other. In fact, I'm going to give you all homework. You must do at least 3 kind things for someone. And no. I don't mean for you to go and choose your husband to do it to, or choose your best friend to do it to, or choose your mom, you know, or whatever, your daughter or something. No, you need to find some opportunity to be kind. Even if it's helping someone push their car out of the road. Okay? Don't go over and touch the car and say, "Oh, I helped a little bit." No, do something good. Okay? And I will know if you didn't do it. Okay? So have a good week. See you all. Thank you very, very much. Now, if I can just get through my squinty eyes here.